created I Pray, I had in mind all the various times in life I've had to become a man. This is my literary form of I Pray, in hopes that we as growing beings seek what greater cause we live for. Oftentimes, the first step is finding that greater cause. In its purest form, prayer is a formal and dignified request. It's also used in a way of like treaties and exhortations, ways of communications, or just having a conversation. In prayer, I mean P-R-A-Y, not P-R-E-Y, just for clarity purposes. The notion behind to pray or prayer is that there's hope. In everything that I personally have experienced and created, there's been a sense of hope that was there, and that hope provided me with some kind of joy in some sense of great measure or small measure. If you've ever heard or known of anything about me, this is just for me being personal. I come from a broken home, poverty, depression, anxiety, loss of self-worth, and I've experienced a hefty divorce all before I was 33 years old. I was always told one of two things. One, I would amount to nothing, or two, whatever I did, it would be great. And through all that, I've owned several businesses that were successfully operated, all of which I did the marketing, the e-commerce, sales, the imports and exports from China, from wherever it came from, and all of which I eventually allowed them to see their next chapter. So some of those businesses I sold, some just kind of dwindled down with demand, and some I just left as is because it's great seeing things there after you've accomplished a lot with being told that you couldn't accomplish anything. Everything I've experienced in my life, I've worked for companies that have challenged me, and I've always worked for Fortune 500 companies since the age of 18. And I don't say that to boast or to brag, but I've been placed in situations that have caused me to develop. It's forced me to become a better person. It's forced me to learn. It's forced me to grow with time. It's forced me to change. It's forced me to learn how to learn and to teach others how to learn and to just do the work. In those companies, I oftentimes advanced in leadership. I am the first in my family to graduate from college. I finished college with my business degree in business management, and I have a master's degree in science, which is in psychology. The focus of that is industrial organizational psychology. That simply means I go into companies and I dissect the entire company. I look at what they're doing as a company, with their profit and loss statements, how they're getting their goods, what are their transactions looking like, what's the journey of the company look like. I perform what's called a SWOT analysis for companies, and that helps them grow. And it's really nice seeing myself grow from not being anything in others' eyes to being who I am in others' eyes, but me still challenging myself and growing myself in other areas and other aspects, because others see that I have grown, but I still have my own challenges, and that's how I continue to have what I look at as hope or prayer or joy or love or peace or whatever you want to call it. And that's what this is really all about. I've published several books. I've actually published over 5 books, which can be found in major bookstores or online. You'll find it. If you look at my link in my Instagram, you'll be able to see the actual link there, and that'll take you to ways for you to see several books that I have on personal development, spirituality, culture. There's a devotional book that I wrote, which was really awesome. That was actually my first book, which was published by Westbow Press, and that was an amazing experience. It was awesome. It helped me really see who I was as a person, and in that time of my life is exactly what I experienced in this time of my life, which is just a downtime. I feel in life we go through peaks and valleys, which is a great book. Look up that book. It's called Peaks and Valleys, and we often need to just see what the bigger picture is. There's a book that's called Who Moved My Cheese? And I feel if we look at that book and we spend time reading that, it'll help us grow, it'll help us develop, and help us be who we need to be as people. And we'll be able to not forget the larger picture, not forget the hope that we have. And so this last portion I wanted to share is, in everything that I've experienced in my life, I felt like the world was against me. There was always a small voice in me that would tell me to just keep going amongst the fear, the crowds that I've experienced. Sometimes I've been scared of crowds or people. So I have had anxiety for those feelings. Just been in industries where there's lots of goods, where there's money, with those large companies. Sometimes you're being robbed or in your negative situations, and there's beautiful protocols in those companies, and those companies offer amazing support opportunities, but just those are real life situations that we go through, and that's fear. And all of us have fear amongst different levels, but in reality, fear is fear. It doesn't matter if your fear is greater or less than someone else's. Fear is fear. Catch myself here. Now I know that that small voice in myself, or the hopes and the dreams that I have, the desires to be a crybaby, as someone would say, the desires to cry out for help, or the desires to express my need for support, have been developed because as a child I wasn't taught that in order to communicate needs, you need to like verbally communicate needs versus express your needs in a non-verbal manner. So if I was lonely, instead of like crying or calling a friend, I would just be lonely. I would just be by myself. And that's me just dealing with my own feelings versus learning that emotions are real. You're going to feel feelings. Feelings come, feelings go. Love come, love goes. The only thing that stays is actions. And so love can be seen as an action. That's a completely different conversation. But feelings come and feelings go. But you have to understand the hope that you have. You have to understand the desires that you have. And you have to understand how to find those desires. But it all has to be with you being a kid again. And that's why I love being out here. So I pray that you become a kid again.